I was 16 years old and the social action vice president of my youth group at my home synagogue. And we made buttons and banners with probably the most famous phrase from the book of Exodus, Shlach et ami, let my people go. And we also wrote it in Russian characters, and this was before Google Translate, so I have no idea if we had the right letters. But we did our best, and then we loaded up onto a bus in the middle of a blizzard for a 10-hour ride from Boston to Washington, D.C. for the Soviet rally for freeing Soviet Jewry. It was called, later it became called Freedom Sunday. I'm sure many of you remember and participated. You probably remember where you were at that time. It turns out that Shlach et ami is a truncated version of the phrase in Exodus. Let my people go. It's a great rally cry, right? But there in chapter 7, verse 26, it is written something much deeper and more subtle. God instructs Moses to say, Shlach et ami, let my people go, tell Pharaoh, vaya'avduni, so that they will serve me, God says. And we forget that part of the rally cry. Let my people go so that they might serve God, the Almighty God. Let my people go for a specific reason, for a lofty purpose, for a noble idea, a sacred purpose. Bob Dylan famously says, you gotta serve somebody. And the rabbis of the Talmud weave into our Haggadah that phrase, Avadim hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim, we were once slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. And the rabbis teach so that we could trade that servitude out, that slavery, that bondage out, for another kind of servitude, to become Ovdei Adonai, to become servants of God. Pesach enshrines this powerful truth, and its first message is that human beings are not autonomous creatures. Many of our experiences might tell us otherwise, but we live for something. We live for somebody, for someone. No one taught this better than Viktor Frankl in his masterpiece of psychology and history, Man's Search for Meaning. He recounts what he learned as an inmate in a concentration camp when he was trying as a psychologist to notice a pattern of those who were more likely to survive. What qualities did they have? And he concluded that meaning and purpose made all the difference. He writes, being human always points or is directed to something or someone other than oneself, be it a meaning to fulfill or another human being to encounter. The more one forgets himself by giving to a cause to serve or another being to love, the more human he is. Pesach is a time for turning away from the limited and limiting experience of human existence. And I know many throughout 2 years of pandemic have said, it feels like I'm just existing, like I'm just biding my time, languishing. Pesach is for turning towards an unlimited divine purpose or purposes. Pesach is not only about being freed from slavery, but for what? For gaining the spiritual freedom to access the deeper and loftier purposes of the human experience. A slave's clock is set by his taskmaster, by her taskmaster. When to get up, when to work, when to eat, when to sleep. Rabbi Ploud of blessed memory spoke of Shabbat as protest. Shabbat is when we take back time and sanctify it. When we fulfill God's command, Shamor v'Zachor, that dual mitzvah, likadsho. Keep Shabbat. Remember Shabbat and sanctify Shabbat. By reclaiming the clock. And all mitzvot, in one way or another, are crafted in order to help us shape time. All the holidays, even the ethical mitzvot, you could say, are about choosing how we're going to spend our time, how we're going to devote our time, invest our time. All of these are in service to a greater master, the one who created time and gave it to us to use. And this is the underlying theme of Pesach. How will we use our time? God entered history to permit the Israelites to set our own clocks by divine time. And Jewish wisdom guides us to devote our time covenantally. That is, life is measured in the quality of our relationships. And here too is the essence of freedom. How do we choose to attach ourselves one to the other? How do we choose to attach ourselves to whatever we wish, whatever purpose we choose, whatever people we love? We choose to create sacred community. We choose partners in the pursuit of a lifetime of meaning and purpose. And that, I have come to know, is the power of sacred congregation. I think I chose this theme tonight because I have two people in mind. Rabbi Sam Kay and Rabbi-to-be Eliza McCarroll, who are with us this Shabbat. They are our incoming rabbis. I hope you will welcome them. Maybe give a wave so we know how to find you. We are so glad you're here. And we look forward to getting to know you better. We look forward to calling you to the Torah tomorrow for a special aliyah. These rabbis will be among our best role models for what it is to claim freedom to serve, what it is to choose freely to serve to higher purposes. And I promise you, you will take inspiration from these good people. They will become, these countless congregants will become your extraordinary living examples of what it is to pursue a life of meaning and purpose, because they also take up mitzvot of all shapes and sizes, on ordinary days and on sacred days. So let us not be afraid of becoming duty-bound, of becoming indebted to God and to one another. This Shabbat Hagadol, this great Shabbat before Pesach, we ready ourselves to embrace all over again the freedom to serve. Shabbat Shalom.